Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and I feel like I should just walk out here and say, where was I, ladies and gentlemen, because the last time me and thee saw each other I was absolutely foaming at the mouth, disgusted in what I had just witnessed with the last performance, effort and result. Well, here I am just a few days later in the very next game, is angry, fed up and raging at the exact same faults. As nothing is changing, nothing is improving, and we as a football club continue to sink. The only question is, how long are we trapped in this purgatory for? And you know what the saddest part is? I never even made a preview for this game anywhere, because this club and this team and this manager has ripped the soul out of me enough that I can't sit here confidently and talk about a side that's just been newly promoted to the Championship, that's got a -5 goal difference and sitting second bottom of the SPFL. I can't sit here as a Rangers fan and talk about how confident I am of beating the likes of Falkirk Football Club anymore, as every single game is balanced on the old scale and every single game can go in the opposition's favour. And you know exactly why I say that, because for the large majority of the season these games have went in the opposition favour, as we continue to fail at every single stat that matters besides possession and passing. But we do not care about that. Possession doesn't win football games. Scoring goals wins you football games. That's the most difficult job in football. And after 7 games in Scottish football troops, the tin pot league where you play duffers and hammer throws, whatever people want to say, the bread and butter in what this club used to be, after 7 matches against that level of opposition, we have mustered just 6 freaking goals. It's pathetic. It really is. I'm going to sit here and repeat what I said 3 days ago, that I said 2 weeks ago, that I said 6 weeks ago. It isn't going to work, and this has been a colossal failure from those that are running this football club, and we are far beyond the likes of a point of no return. We are neck deep in a lock of incompetence and negligence now for the old club, and I didn't even want to wait to the morning. I didn't want the morning for a statement to come out and say this man's been sacked. This man should be sacked the night, and it should be a warning to every single person in this football club that the current embarrassment that we are right now will not be tolerated. Because see, if it is, then we're getting into a really dangerous period, because what's that telling the fans? That this crap is who we are? No, the money's gone up, everything's getting more expensive, every little thing price is up there, but the performances and what we're getting back is getting lower and lower. That doesn't make any sense to me. So we've now really reached the point now, do you go with the football club, or are you going to go with your absolute ego and pride and not want to admit you've messed this up by taking a guy that every single Rangers fan screamed at the top of their lungs, no to hire? You went against the grain, you tried to reach for the stars, you have fell flat on your face, you look like an idiot, but it's time to wrap it up and move on from it. Get the guy out the building. And for me, the problem doesn't just stop with Russell Martinez. Yes, there is blame on the players, and if you stay throughout today's video, we will talk about the players who are embarrassing themselves this season. They really are. But the buck doesn't just stop with them two. It's not a wee cheeky double header. I want to then look at our sporting director, who's supposed to be tidying up this mess, but the more you look around, and the more you actually pay attention to what Kevin's been able to do in his short reign and how much damage he's been able to do in such a short period of time, it's absolutely terrifying, and it's scarier than any little thing you will ever see in a horror movie. You're talking about a guy that's hired his inexperienced son to be the head of recruitment of this football club, and again, it doesn't even breach the top 5 weirdest mistakes this man's even done. We're talking about a sporting director that's okayed on the fact that we spent about £8-9 million on a striker who's allergic to scoring goals, whilst we don't even have a complete full team position for position where there's enough balance to actually play out a season. We do not have a permanent left back at this football club, troops. Nobody talks about it. We didn't have a left back. Jaden is a young kid on loan for Brentford in 12 months. There's nobody there at all. We are going into games of football where we're taking our one and only good centre-half Cornelius and thrown him out on the left-hand side. And ken the sad part is, he's actually that giddy a football player. He looked good at left-back. But there you're talking about having to take a player that we need. We need a centre-back. We're having to put him at left-back because we haven't built a team good enough or built a team properly that we sitting here and dip millions and millions of pounds on another centre-back that doesn't get near the park. Great signing. That is, and then we go and splash such a ridiculous amount of money on someone that he spent about £15 million at before at his previous club that failed, but because he can't admit a mistake and he needs his pals in and around him, he's went ahead and splashed that money on that striker to bring him up here and double down on the gamble that he failed with at Everton. It really doesn't make sense. So as much as a fault as Martin is, and trust me, there's a hell of a lot to blame Martin, we need to start actually glancing over a look at the guy that not only gave him 7 interviews at this football club, but look at the sporting director that's put this collective together and hired so many of his pals and hired his frickin' family members. It is absolutely stinking what's gone wrong at this football club, the new, and it's about time the chairman and all that start paying attention again. They were quick enough to come out and make their presence be known and be seen constantly when we were excited about the takeover. They were alright about taking all the praise and the love of the fan base. Well, the fan base need you now as the inmates are running the asylum. You said you didn't want to be seen, you said you never wanted to be heard, and you hired who you felt would run this club properly. They are running this club into the ground, so it's about time the people that own this football club step into the spotlight and clean this mess up. Basically what I'm trying to say is the swamp needs drained, and it needs drained tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel like that's all I really want to talk about regarding the off the field stuff, because I feel like I've spent the majority of the season talking about the off the field stuff. I feel like I talk about Russell, Kevin and Patrick Stewart more than I do the football these days. You know what I mean? What I actually support and what I actually really love, this football club. I spend more time talking about the Three Stooges than I do the actual team, and it sickens me to the bone. But where it does seem like we're doing the bottom of the well and there's no help in sight and we can't climb out like that wee mad lassie through the ring, there is a potential starting point. There's a ladder that could get chucked down to that well so we could begin to climb on out of this failure of a season, and that's making the right decision regarding the managerial position and pulling a bit more. If you didn't want to pull the trigger and get rid of everybody else, pulling the reins a wee bit and pay attention to what's actually happening with the people you put in charge to run the football club that yous go ahead and run. But I feel like that's all I want to say about that, because I want to go and talk about this game of football and explain why I am so hated and why I am so frustrated. Because I imagine again there will be a couple of people saying, CJ, you're far too raging at the start of today's video. I feel like I'm beyond raging. I'm just sick to my soul having to watch the club play like this and watch the performances like this and feel like this every single match day. You know what I mean? Rangers is absolutely everything to us, and having to glance at it in this current state and see this type of crap constantly is soul destroying. But I want to go and talk about this game because we are here to talk about a game of football versus Falkirk, where again, if I'd made a preview video, I would have praised how they've built year upon year upon year. They've done things the right way. I mean, the majority of their squad that we played today were with them in League One, ladies and gentlemen. We just struggled to a draw with players that was in League One not too long ago. And you know what? I'm not trying to take a dig at them. I'm not putting them down. It's absolutely incredible the way they have continued to develop, because not everybody can make the step up. Then the step up again. They've done tremendous to grow as a football club. And again, they've done it the hard way and they've done it the right way, and they are fighting a very tough battle to stay in the top flight of Scottish football. But the longer Russell Martin remains in charge, they might fancy actually finishing above Rangers this frickin' season, right? But again, when you take everything away and all the praise that you can give them as a football team and how well they're doing considering the restraints that they are actually under, when you look at the cold hard facts of this football team, you're looking at a side that is again sitting second bottom with a -5 goal difference, but yet still they gave us the runaround and looked like the better team. Is that not enough of a warning sign and a clearest sign that something is rotten with this football club? Falkirk battered us did they? And no matter amount of gaslighting or that, I've not watched the presser again, I'm sure you know by now, but I never watched it till then, but I cannot imagine what this man's saying. We'll do the Martin bingo later on in the video, but no matter a absolute word salad from Gareth Sproutgate is going to make me feel any differently than embarrassment watching the team and watching the club play second fiddle to the likes of Falkirk, who've been newly promoted from the Championship and again gave us the runaround. Now, all cards on the table, I do actually think Falkirk have a very, very underrated manager, and I'm actually a pretty big fan of the man himself, as I feel like John's done an absolute tremendous job over the years with Falkirk. I know I'm not building this up to say that he should be given the Rangers position if Martin goes. Nah, troops, you can praise people about wanting them in the door, but I have been very, very impressed with the way he's tweaked and changed the squad and built up year upon year. And honestly, I was surprised that none of the big teams in Scottish football came ahead here and tried to snipe him and bring him in, as I think he is incredibly underrated, and there maybe be a potential Aberdeen job in the future. That's truly what I believe, is Aberdeen have been stinking this season. But if you want another punch in the gut, Aberdeen, who couldn't kick their arse for the majority of their own season, in one game has nearly scored the exact same amounts of goals as we have all season long. Do you know what I mean? Is that not just sayre to get hit there? But they're the cold hard facts, and that's what people at this football club need, the cold water splashed on their face to wake up. And that wasn't matter what we do with the starting 11, as Martin went ahead and made some changes in this game of football. Do you know what I mean? We're Butland obviously with Tav. Jiga came back and I was like, alright, okay. Then I saw Suter beside him at the left centre back spot. You know what I mean? He's a right centre back. He's a right centre back. He played better. He's been stinking for weeks in games at the right centre back spot. So we put him back to the left centre back spot that he was always been bad at. But yeah, that is great. But then thankfully Cornelius again was on the park, but he was playing at left wing. But you know, we can spend close to £12 million on a striker that can't score goals and a centre back that can't play football, but we can't go ahead and bring in a left back to actually play left back, and we can't play the centre half that this club badly needs at centre half, because he's got to go and play somewhere else because we haven't built our team well enough. But the back four was what it was, ladies and gentlemen. But then you start to glance around and then the problems can become clear. Mikey Moore, and I wanted to build the reaction that way, and I wanted to build the starting 11 because we need to talk about Mikey Moore. We really did. Where there's frustrations regarding the starting 11 and the frustrations regarding the lack of consistency we see in terms of selection, what we're doing to this kid is near criminal in my personal opinion. Right, he is struggling. He is poor. He is not performing anywhere near it, and I'll hold my hands up and say he has been really bad. But again, when you look into it, this is a kid that's previously barely played football at all. You know what I mean? Handful of games overall in his career, right? So he's a young kid that is struggling in a team that's struggling under a manager that is absolutely drowning and clueless and couldn't organise anything. Troops, any manager with their salt would look at the Mikey Moore situation and take that kid away for the final line and protect him a wee bit. Just sit him for a couple games, let him get feeling and sit a bit confident, let him take himself out of the spotlight, and maybe even show him that it's not all his fault, that it's not all you. Maybe free him of that struggle and the weight that this kid is playing with, because he knows he's not playing well. He's not even trying his skills. Anyway, that's the one thing that he's got. He's been battered doing that much this season. This kid doesn't even attempt a step over anymore, yet still we chuck him to the wolves constantly. That's what we're doing to the kid. It's absolute scandalous the way we're handling Moore, and where he's been poor, at least take him out the final line and protect the kid a wee bit. But there's none of that at this football club. There's no management at all. So that's been completely mishandled in his amateur hour right there. But I wanted to again to build more into that, because there's another kid, there's another 18-year-old kid that is actually ours in terms of Finlay. Curtis started this season off by scoring big goals and even coming off the bench and grabbing other big goals, and who's been our pretty much only real bright spark that's not called Gazama in terms of the attacking perspective. You're talking about the handling of Mikey Moore and the mismanagement we've had of a kid that's drowning. Can we pay attention to the fact that Finlay Curtis wasn't even on the bench the day? Finlay Curtis isn't getting started games of football. All Curtis has done all season when he's been selected is make a difference and create chances or score goals, but we didn't want to play that player. Mikey Moore gets chucked to the wolves every single time despite drowning. There's a perfect example of why we need somebody stronger in the dressing room that's going to make the right decisions, because the decisions that's getting made right now are so glaringly wrong It's actually terrifying to look at. Where's Finlay Curtis? Honestly, where is he? He's fit. He's alright. He's playing for the under-21s in a couple of days' time. Why is he not in the 18? Is he knackered for sitting on the bench and getting scalps on his arses? Why is he not getting the first 50 minutes versus Falkirk in a game that he could make a difference? Again, we'll never know, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure some statistician will tell me or something like that based on miles and training, and Mikey Muir's really good at jogging round cones. I do not care about training. I really don't. What I care about what happens on the park, and for what I've seen of young Finlay Curtis, who doesn't drastically make us the best team in the world and have us top of the league, absolutely. All I'm saying is what I've seen for him, where it matters, on the park, he's a game changer. And I would like to see more of them in the Rangers 18, in my personal opinion. Again, I'm not putting all my stock in. I'm saying he would drastically change everything. But has he warranted a spot? Aye. But he doesn't get one. Is there's other people like Mikey who doesn't that continually get given one? Aye. And I just want to know why. Absolute fraud and charlatan. But I'm going to move on for there. Right, that was the starting 11. That was my opinions going into the game, and that's how I thought the two managers were. I thought John absolutely outmanaged them in every single aspect. And the first 5 minutes of this game showed it. It's another slow, ponderous, anonymous start for this football club. We just got beat again. And we're just on another bad result in Europe. Is there any resemblance of fight at all? Can we not start a game fast? Can we not start a game by having a couple shots? No, it's got to be slow, inside, slow, inside. It's sickening to watch. And you know what's mad? Ladies and gentlemen, we nearly done a smash and grab in the opening 5 minutes of this game because we started slow. Falkirk was running down the wings. Falkirk were putting the ball in the box, but we end up putting the ball in the back of net first with an absolute stealing, in my opinion. And the way we scored is absolutely comical, in my opinion. And again, summarises where we are. Soapy, Suter, again with the ball at his feet, just kicks it to the opposition. It looks like he's putting Falkirk through on goal, but Cornelius ends up doing brilliant defending, makes himself big, reads the mistake for Suter, ends up falling there, wins us a wee free kick, and from that quick free kick that he plays, it opens the play up, brilliant ball to Mikey Muir. Mikey Muir's shot is spilt by the goalie. Gassimer's tapped it in. I'm like, how have we scored that? It's all been Falkirk, and the offside flag goes up, and then it's eventually VAR'd out, as I believe Mikey Muir was offside. But where do you think, oh, that's quite mad, but it might spark us because it can show you Falkirk's high pressing Rangers Football Club. Falkirk are piling people forward versus Rangers Football Club. All it takes is one pass in behind and you're in. Did we do that again? No, we never, man. Suter again tried his best in the 7th minute with one of the most maddest decisions I've ever seen. Is he cuts inside and he tries to chip a ball across his own box. You know what I mean? It's just outside the box, but he chips it. Am I being daft here, or was anybody, no matter what level you played at, under 9s, under 12s, under 13s, whatever, were you no drilled into you to never pass it across your box? Aye. Well, your starting star centre-back is chipping balls across the box that goes to Falkirk, and thankfully the shot ends up being just wide, but it's absolutely ridiculous. It's the big lad, he's absolutely drowning as well in a Rangers team, but I'm pretty damn sure he'll go and play for Scotland and be parked on the 18-yard box and look brilliant in that system and that style. Then he'll come back to the road to Rangers playing a high line and look like Bambi when they can't walk about. But aye, let's move on from there, as Falkirk should have scored again in that instance from our own insanity. And then in the 8th minute, to be fair to them, it wasn't down to your mistake or them giving the ball. It's their high press, they're doing very well. They cut down wide. Tavernier gets took for a walk again. You know what I mean? I love that man, but seeing what's happening to him again, man, it's just Larry Holmes beating the crap out Muhammad Ali. I'm watching Tav run, Lynn, treacle. Week in, week out, gets took for a walk, the ball gets fizzled in, and thankfully Derek Cornelius is there to bail out our two centre-halves. Again, honestly, it's hard to put any words how important Cornelius was, not only in the first 15 minutes of this game, but obviously grabbing the assist for our goal, and how good he was overall. You take him away there, I genuinely, hand on heart, think we get pumped tonight. But that's just the 8th minute. On the 10th, 11th minute of the ball, Mikey Muir gives the ball away, loses it. They run by him, run by Tav. You know what I mean? Ball comes in, and thankfully the low-driven brawl, I believe it was by Miller, which was absolutely on the money. Nobody's able to gamble at the back post or Falkirk have a tap in. That's why I'm so frustrated. We've talked about 10 minutes of football, and Falkirk arguably could be 2-3-0 up right here, if they're in the right position and take the chances they've went ahead and created. Now, speaking of created, we did get a chance around about the 13th minute of this game of football as we win a free kick, sort of central, and I'm thinking, right, I've just watched Derek Cornelius put one in the breadbasket for Canada. I'm talking about, and I've heard the Canadian manager talk about how much practice he's been putting in to his free kicks. I've seen that left peg, and I'm thinking, left peg, smash it. It's quite close, so you'll not be able to get it up. Just absolutely George Alberts. That's what I've got in my brain. But then I remember I support Rangers Football Club. Right, Cornelius, away you go, son. Tav's here. Tav hits it out of the bar, complete waste to anything, and then Falkirk quickly. How can we still be getting beat by quick restarts? Did we learn nothing for the Ange Postecoglou Celtic team? Not we haven't. They take it quickly. They end up countering us, ladies and gentlemen, and again force Jack Butland into an absolutely brilliant save. 13 minutes in the game, because if he doesn't get low, if he doesn't get that strong paw on it, and he doesn't keep it away, there's Falkirk got the opening goal that they well and truly deserve in the game. 23rd minute of the game, Raskin, who's having a really poor game and seemingly struggling with his footwork in the game, as he fell about 3 times. He fell in the first minute as well to give Falkirk a corner, and then in the 23rd minute, I think it's Giga just balloons a bottom, like absolutely shells him one from about 5 yards away. Raskin tries to take a touch and then tries to take his like wee usual run, but ends up slipping, you know what I mean? Look like Fred Flintstone trying to get the old car started. Ends up falling down. Falkirk snap on it. They run down to the left hand side. They try a snapshot, and again, thankfully, it goes wide. But there's another chance for Falkirk Football Club versus us. But see, to save our sanities, he's talking about more crosses for Falkirk, more opportunities to put the ball in the box. I'm going to just skip to the 41st minute, but just know it's been shocking if you missed the game. In the 41st minute, we are the Duffer team. That's what we've regressed to. And do you know what Duffer teams end up doing against normally the team that's at home and dominant? Because we were always that team previously that would occasionally get sucker punched. We sucker punch and strike against the flow of the game in the 41st minute as Cornelius, surprise, surprise, works well with Gazma down the left hand side. It passes to Cornelius. Cornelius, wonderful pass / cross in to the mixer, and Bojan's what it always is. The right place at the right time if you give the guy the frickin' service, and he ends up tapping it into the back of net. Again, it's not the greatest goal in the world, but it's a striker in the right place, and it's a wonderful ball delivered by Derek Cornelius. And do you know what the maddest stat is up to that point in the game, right? When we scored in the 41st minute with our first cross in the game, we had 1 cross in the game from Derek Cornelius overall as a squad. Do you know how many Falkirk had? 19 at that time. That's how much we were getting salt and peppered. That was 19-1. But thankfully, we've got the quality that Falkirk didn't, and we can take that opportunity. And that's what happens when you put the ball into the mixer to your striker, troops. He can put the ball away, and I'm thinking, by God, we've absolutely stolen here. I can't believe we've scored that and everything. We get edger and closer to half time, but we have a wee nibble as Falkirk does sort of fear it a little bit, you know what I mean? They've put so much in it, they've just been stung. We've got a couple wee chances, but Gazimer's more interested in throwing his arse on the ground than running at the laddies. And I just want to say, I love Big Gazma. I think he's been very, very good for us. But see this diving malarkey, I've got no interest in. Somebody needs to have a word, pull him to the side, tell him, hey, come on now, toughen up here. The fan base really, really need you. You've got enough quality. You don't need to go about flopping like a fish every 2 seconds. And seeing him diving every week, the referees aren't buying it, and they're not buying him the fouls. They're not giving him the fouls anymore because he's making a reputation for himself, throwing himself to the ground when there isn't any contact. So somebody in the football club, pull this kid to the side and be like, stand up, man, you've got a bit about you. But that was the first half, ladies and gentlemen, barring a couple wee flops for Gazma. We end up getting to the first half with 1-0 up, and yeah, everything's great right now. I done a wee joke on Twitter saying we could score 14 goals in this second half and I'd still want Russell Martin. And people are coming for my heat. People still didn't understand. On social media, I'm pretty sarcastic and dry in that, and 99.9% of what I actually tweet is clearly jokes, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? They were raging. How could you ever want a manager sat to win 14-0? Because he's never going to win 14-0. He's garbage. That was a joke. But anyway, in to the second half we go. Did we start off great? Nah, it was a bit slow. It's about as lifeless. And honestly, it looked as if the players were trying to put this final nail in Martin's coffin. I'm going to say it. Because the team to create the first major opportunity in the game was Falkirk Football Club. And guess where? Can you just guess which part of the park they attacked? Just for me, if you've never seen the game, where do you think Falkirk were able to run at will down to the channel and put a ball in? the right-hand side of Rangers Football Club. Mikey Moore doesn't help Tavernier out, who needs the help against pacey opposition. There's nothing between them two. They skip by Tav, put another ball in the box, and again Derek Cornelius is able just to give a clever, it's not a foul, but he just kind of bumps the centre forward as the centre forward's trying to get there, and he just blocks it off enough to make sure there's no a tap in at the back post again. This man should have been wearing a fireman's hat, ladies and gentlemen, the amount of fires he put out at the back post overall the day. But that was it for the chances, as 15 painful minutes goes by without a resemblance of football for this team. And Russell Martin, clearly feeling the way the game's gone and knowing one goal isn't enough, trying to spark some sort of thing, makes a double substitution as he takes Bojan off, who's just scored. Ladies and gentlemen, he's off the park, and then Mikey Moore mercifully gets pulled off the park when again he shouldn't be starting games anymore, as Ant-Man comes on, and on comes Big Chermeti where all our monies went. Yeah. Well spent. And again, I feel bad for saying that, but when you look at us having to play a centre-back at left-back and see all the money funnelled in to this levery striker, it just frustrates you to the bone. And I'm hopeful again with whoever comes in during the international break, please be somebody, please bring Gerrard back, you know what I mean? I know everyone hates him and everything like that. Oh, only one trophy in 9. You look at what we were prior to after he left and what we are right now. We need somebody to clean up messes, and the guy's done it before and has a respect and's actually won things in his career. And I'm hoping maybe we can get a tune out of that laddie by playing to his strengths, because I don't know what these strengths are right now, if I'm honest with you, you know what I mean? But aye, he was on the park. Did he do anything? Nah. But did we really give him anything to attack? Nah. 6'4". Did we cross the ball once to him? Nah, ladies and gentlemen. Of course we didn't, because it's all about the system. Passing sideways. Just wait for the chance. Away you go, man. But hey, let's go and break down Falkirk battering his mare, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's go ahead and do that. They bring on a winger that is absolutely meep, and he just takes Cornelius, just absolutely runs him, because you know what I mean? Cornelius isn't a left back, he's a centre half. But anyway, gets took to the cleaners down the old channel with it raw pace, chips it to the back post, and Miller should probably get his header on it, but I think it ends up getting deflected off from either Suter or Tav, and I'm thinking, that was close. Well, a couple minutes later, they did the exact same thing. This time the cross comes in from a bit deeper, right to the back post, and I think the actual two Falkirk players end up challenging themselves for it, because Tav doesn't get up, you know what I mean? At the back post, you having a laugh? You know what I mean? The ball comes in, the two Falkirk players attack each other, end up bumping the one that gets the striker as the number 9 ends up hitting it inches wide. But that is a golden opportunity. That's Charlie opening up the old chocolate back to and seeing the golden ticket. That was their moment for there. Or that's how it felt. They had created more than enough opportunities to score, but you felt after missing such a major, pretty much open goal, that it wasn't going to be their day, and it would require something very special for them to spat their way back into this game. And to be fair, the wee in-betweener Cartwright went ahead and done it brilliantly, who came on alongside Brian Graham. You know what I mean? I'm fearing Brian Graham in 2025. I'm pretty sure if you look at black and white footage of Partick Thistle in the 1900s, he would be starting up front for them. And to be fair, the big lad probably scoring a lot of goals. So he's coming on the park, but wee Cartwright comes behind him, you know what I mean, like Timon and Pumbaa, just got his head out there, and he was so sharp, he was so bright, you know what I mean? And his goal that he scores today is absolutely a world as he cuts inside, hits it for range. Aye, it takes a slight nick off John Soapy Suter, but Butland's completely beat by the fizz of the ball. And just seeing a midfielder with the cojones to actually take the ball, run forward and have a shot, as a Rangers fan that doesn't get to see, it was almost shocking to see, because I'm going, he should have passed that there. Look, there's a guy wide. The centre back's home. He's going to run forward and shoot the ball. Huh. He's breaking the system. He's breaking the code. Phenomenal goal for Cartwright. Well and truly what Falkirk deserved in this game. If anything, that's the least of what they went ahead and deserved. Then we make more substitutions. Dio comes on round about this time as well, and Dio ends up getting injured, falling out his arse, trying to fake shot rather than putting the ball into the mixer, because he's trying to fake shot to pass it sideways. What have we done to your decent football players? I know Dio's been an empty jersey all season, but Dio's got football about him. Why is he playing like that? Why is he not having a shot? Why is he not going forward with the ball? What have we drilled in to these lads? Like, honestly, what is going on with any single player we have And our football team, they're looking like absolute cyborgs, and not in the Haaland type of way. They look like they're just on easy mode, just side to side. So there's a perfect summary. Dio, one of our players that would break a line and dribble forward and have a shot, ends up injuring himself trying to fake shot to pass it freaking sideways. And to be fair to him, he does stay on the park, but and this might sound daft, right? Because I know he tried and he showed a lot of heart and he showed a lot of toughness because he was clearly injured. I mean, he was hobbling. He looked like Saka after he missed a chance. You know, he's hobbling. But does there not come a point where if he is legitimately injured and no just Jerry Maguire at the end of that film, spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 1992, if he isn't doing that and if he's actually injured, should you not just take the guy off the park and play with 10 men rather than further injuring a guy that could be pretty damn important? You know what I mean? Even that was mismanaged in my opinion. Dio couldn't walk in the game. He had to get a yellow card because he can't run and somebody skipped by him. He should have also been sent off in the game of footballs. Again, he can't walk, so he just pulls somebody down. But the referee goes to send him off, but then bricks his knickknacks. That was a poor decision. He should have been doing it to 10 men, but you can make an argument with the way he was limping about and walking. We were already doing it to 10 men, but Asgard was on, so we're pretty much doing it to 9 men, so maybe the ref felt bad in that instant. But take the injured player off and not injure him further. Surely, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm losing my mind. So, because the last little chance we need to talk about actually felt like Brian Graham, as the 78-year-old striker gets a ball into the mixer, he turns around, hits it on a swivel, and it's a phenomenal low save for Butland. That's honestly brilliant again, and it will be forgotten. And how pish we are and how poor we are this season will completely overshadow just how strong Butland's start of this season is. But I'm thankful for him, because what is an embarrassing, colossal failure of a season would be even worse if it wasn't for Jackie B. But there's Falkirk pushing for the wing. What do we do? One cross for Gazima, another dive. Chermeti no touching the ball. I think Chermeti had one touch and he shot for about 40 yards. That was a P-roller. And do you know what's cruel? That one that rolled into the goalkeeper's hands like that, that was our one and only shot in 53 minutes. In the second half, as there was a lot of extra time added on and everything like that. You're talking about the entire second half of football. We had one shot in the half, and it was from about 35 yards out as Chermeti just hit one. And again, it was a P-roller. It's sickening what's happened to this football club. But that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it finished 1-1. Genuinely, we stole a point today. You can't talk round it. You can't get gaslit. You can't trick me with whatever gets said in press conferences. We did not deserve that point today based on what we created and what Falkirk went ahead and misses. But again, our goalie on the form of his life and the opposition missing guilt and opportunity saves further blushes for a fan base that's already completely embarrassed with the season so far. But that's how I feel about the game of football. Again, I am very frustrated. Maybe I have been too frustrated. You can let me know in the old comment section below. But just tell me what's happening, man. Just tell me what is going on and tell me if I'm completely lost. And maybe I'm too tunnel vision by wanting rid of Martin. Am I just not seeing it right? Troops, is there something else going on? You can let me know down in the comment section below. But to wrap up today's video, I'll do some sort of bingo. I think Martin's going to get sacked. I'll tell you, I think Martin's going to get sacked now, so I think he's going to go down. I don't know if he'll blame the players now, because if you look at his last Southampton press conference, he didn't throw the players under the bus, even though he threw them under the bus weeks prior to that. I think he knows in his heart of hearts that it was a sacking, so I'm not going to go with anxiety or mentality. I'm going to say he praises them a wee bit and just says they were unlucky. If he mentions the weather, you know what I mean, I just didn't tell me. In fact, I'm not going to watch it. Just didn't tell me, because I didn't want to know. But I feel like he'll go ahead and praise the team like they were alright or something. But that's my Martin bingo of the day. You can let me know if I'm right, or you can let me know if I'm wrong. But that's me, done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. As always, shout out the legends that are signed up to the channel Legend memberships. I wish you could be on happier videos, and hopefully you will be very, very soon. But unfortunately, me and they go through the journey together, and this is the journey that we're on. Thank you to everyone that has signed up to the supporter range, directly supporting the channel every month. And speaking of supporting the channel every month, every video, thank you to everyone that takes time out their day to sit and listen to this guy. Apologies about the new preview video, but I didn't want to just sit here and hit you the head with negativity. And it was one of my best friend's weddings, and I was his best man at his wedding, and I wasn't want to just sit and bring that frustration to what was a very big day for Mr. Ryan. So aye, that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's my opinions on it. I'll see you hopefully very, very soon. Until then, thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye bye.